Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there had a good weekend, y'all. Happy Monday. On today's episode, we got mysterious videos deleted from TikTok. Let's get into it, y'all. Let's have some fun today. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show.
Here's why you should keep your kids off Roblox. All of these arrests that you're seeing are very recent, and you can find them with a simple search. Seems like a pretty dangerous game to me. Stay safe.
Do you guys want to really know what the real pandemic is for children? It's stealing a brain rot Roblox game. It's the devil. Keeps all these kids, family, friends, cousins arguing, fighting, crying, kids on the floor rolling for this game, all because someone stole a brain rot. And then for some reason, someone's looking for dun 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 chillalalalalalalalala. Like, what kind of speech is that? What does that even mean? What are we teaching our children? What is the benefit of this game? And then when
Never
someone
ending.
steals from the other one's killing themselves crying to get that item back. This is a horrible pandemic for the children. It's an addiction. Roblox is an addiction. And yes, we can only monitor what we can. We can do our best. However, you can't also say that you're around your child 24/7 monitoring every little thing that they see and do within a half an hour, a couple hours, on and off throughout the day. The real pandemic is Roblox. So the best thing to do is delete that. It's gone. And guess what? My house today was peaceful. I didn't hear yelling and screaming and tantrums and doesn't want to get off the iPad and waiting for an update. An update. They don't want to leave the house because there's an update. No, that's not going to happen. Delete the game. It's evil. It's taken over your children's mind when they can spend all their time elsewhere and gaining knowledge rather than games like this that cause an addiction and cause our children to actually be brain rotted.
Pyramid power.
Now, I believe that game, it's impossible to beat, right? Like, it's never ending. If I'm not mistaken, maybe it's a different game I'm thinking of. I think it's Roblox that it's like impossible to beat the game. It's a never ending game. But I think it just starts with the parents, y'all. Like, the only reason I'm really on my phone is business, right? Is because I'm finding content for videos, I'm creating it. I watch YouTube on TV. That's all I watch. I don't watch Netflix or nothing, but there's some people my age that have kids, they're always on their phone. I got family members always on their phone playing video games. It Guess what? That's what the kid so guess what they're going to give their kid for Christmas? A video game, a tablet, an iPhone, because that's all they're doing. That's all they're on. So honestly, I think it starts with the parents. And I know this day and age, it's just what the normal is. A tablet, I'm gonna fight with as long as possible as I can because I know what it does to your a child mentally. Because I went through it. I don't want him to go through it. But it's inevitable, y'all. I mean, in school, they don't even use textbooks no more. They use tablets. So, they're coming home with the tablet whether you like it or not.
Theory is a lot like Tesla's technology. The Giza Plateau, there is an aquifer under there.
Microphone,
There's a lot of water
like it's
under
not
there.
working.
And
Sounds
that
different.
water would create this resonant frequency. And they found copper rods that go down there that would help bring up some of the electricity or however it worked. And then in the pyramid, at the various chambers, there's residue of certain chemicals that when combined create a lot of hydrogen. So coming down from the Queen's chamber and then, I forget the other chamber. They're built in a way so they come down, you use gravity and you just pour these chemicals down, creates this hydrogen reaction, there's residue of these chemicals there. This is not a conspiracy theory. The hydrogen expands, comes up through the gallery, this big hallway that goes up to the king's chamber. And they've discovered that in the grand gallery, there used to be these wooden posts, and those would create sound. It's called a Helmholtz resonator. Like when you blow across a bottle, it goes, whoo, that air is a Helmholtz resonator. So this hydrogen would come up through the chamber. These things would resonate with sound, F sharp chord specifically, and that would cause it to build build up more and more and more. The hydrogen expands. This chamber is built out of rose granite, which is an unusual type of granite because it's densely made of quartz. And when you compress quartz, it creates electricity. It's called piezoelectricity. And if you have a lot of quartz, you can create a lot of electricity. You've got the hydrogen expanding, creating this electricity. It's ionizing the air, amplifying it more. You've got the sound coming through, amplifying it more. And then you've got this hole leading into the King's chamber that's 4.8 inches by 8.4 inches, which is the perfect size for a hydrogen atoms microwave to just fit through as a waveguide. Comes up into the King's chamber, and the King's chamber has these pillars and on top of it, a bunch of stones that are stacked. Everything is really smooth, except the top is really rough. But what they found is that this creates music, creates this chord. And what the theory is it's rough on top because they would chip away at it and tune it until it was just about right. And that's why it's smooth on the bottom but rough on the top. So you've got all this energy. So how do we get it out? When the pyramids were new or, intact, the interior is made out of a certain type of limestone that electricity can move around in. The exterior is made out of a different kind of limestone called Tura limestone, which is quarried from far, far away. But it's a special type of limestone that's very low in magnesium. It's a great insulator. So you've got this electricity, and then you've got sort of this conductor, and then you've got another insulator. And that's called a dielectric. And that creates even more power. And if you had a gold capstone on top, which is a great conductor, you can force that energy up through the capstone and up into the ionosphere. And that's what Nikola Tesla was trying to do.
Did you see MGK's new video? What is that? What is those statues holding? White and black shirt, red gloves. What is going on here, guys? Nah, son. Come on, man. You see his hands. Look at the hand gesture.
Who's listening to hip hop nowadays? New hip hop.
I'm starting to think, who's directing these videos?
Who listens to this now?
Just directors, guys. This is art. Now, what was that statue holding? Do you see those statues? White and black shirts, red gloves. Throwing up those hand signs. You've changed a lot, MGK. I used to listen to your music, bro. I haven't listened to it in a while. Nothing to see here but a cool outfit. That's right. Now this is what I call drip. Over and over and over again, guys. They're showing you what they're into. And obviously, they're into fashion. That's all they're into. And let's not forget that this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just wondering who put that video together and what do all that stuff in that video means. Probably means nothing. It's just fashion and art. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
To the American people who are watching, the reason your government is shut down at this very minute is because, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of congressional Republicans and even a few moderate Democrats supported opening the government, the Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition.
And you got one side saying they're doing this, the other one saying you're doing this. Like little kids. We're not going because you did this. No, we're not going because you did this. Like it's so Wouldn't you think if they really cared for us? People that support Mr. Trump, people that support the other side. Don't you think if they really cared about us, they'd come together for the betterment of all of us? Right? Instead of fighting and keeping us divided. Do you guys see that? Do you see that, right? Please tell me you see that. People that are hardcore Trump supporters are hardcore. Now I was a very big Trump supporter, but now I just see it as nonsense. I try not to get into politics no more because it's just nonsense. But this is stupid. Like they're just sitting there pointing fingers. He's doing this. They're doing this. If they really cared, they would come together and be like, we're going to make America a freaking powerhouse. Let's go. Let's shake hands and let's work together. They don't do that, y'all. They're doing that. That's why and they keep us divided. They keep us with so much hatred. It's annoying. Tired of it, y'all. I'm tired of it.
Refuses to sell out. This is exactly why he's not playing on teams and at the elite NBA level. Look how he was playing in college, and this is stuff we're going to be talking about on this channel. On this page on TikTok. So, like I was saying, Ben Simmons is just refusing to sell out. Like, look how he was playing in college when you watch the clips of him playing and shit like that. The reason why, you see him doing all this shit in clips that he's not doing in the games because he refuses to sell out. Get at that LeBron level, to get at that Curry level, you have to do shit. Be a robot or sell out to get that and get there in the NBA and the sports industry in general. To get at a high level, you gotta sell out, man. It's not about talent in none of these industries. It's about how much you're gonna sacrifice and sell out. That's how it works in these industries. So Ben Simmons is a amazing basketball player, and he gets all this hate and stuff, but he's refusing to sell out. This is why he's on the bench, barely getting minutes, and when he does get in the games, he doesn't be popping off and be doing this thing because he's refusing to sell out. They was talking about this is supposed to be the next LeBron and stuff like that,
I remember.
Back in 2017, 16 when he was drafted. Now, like I said, this is going on because he's refused to sell out. When you refuse to sell out, the elites are just going to put you on the side, bro. And that's how it works in the sports industries, bro. Like, he's just refusing to sell out, and that's why he's not getting the shine that he's supposed to be really getting, how good he is. He's 6'10", could pretty much do anything on the court, bro. But like I was saying, when you refuse to sell out, it doesn't matter about none of that. And that's a prime example of refusing to sell out. Ben Simmons in the situation he's in right now, they just coming out talking about some mental health issues. No, it is because he's refusing to sell out.
What about cooking in cast iron? Is that good or bad?
Cast iron has been around since 1893, which I think is really interesting. Same year as the World's Fair. At the World's Fair, they introduced Coca-Cola, which what was in Coca-Cola. They also introduced Hershey's chocolate, so another form of poison. They also introduced Tiffany's, the jewelry company. You can see what was happening was people were kind of already starting to be programmed. Cast iron, in my opinion, is another form of program. You've moved from one, now you've moved to this. But remember, what does iron do, like we talked about with the soil? There's lots of rust. There's lots of, heat that goes in it. So when you cook up the food in the cast iron, now you got all this rust. And here's a perfect example. Take a cast iron pan, pour a little water on it, any type of water, and let it sit. What do you get? You get rust. You see it right there. If you're heating your food in that, you also have that. And so when I was kind of switching, I thought, okay, I don't want to do Teflon. I'm gonna do cast iron. Well, what happens when we gather all this iron in our body? Especially as a male, you can't detox any of this stuff. It doesn't really come out of you in the same sense as a female. Females go through their cycle every 30 days or every 28 days to the full moon. They go through their cycle, they detox the metals. Me and you, we just keep accumulating metals.
The light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion. And I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm.
Farms are currently getting overhauled with AI machines, and the benefits are actually pretty impressive. They've even got AI machines that are zapping weeds with lasers, blasts weeds in the field like it's playing Space Invaders. The goal is no chemicals, no herbicides, just high-tech weed control that leaves crops untouched. And some of these are even solar powered, so the sun helps grow the crops and powers the machines that harvest them. That's some full circle wizardry right there. Across the world, farms are trading in human hands for robotic arms. There's machines that now pick strawberries, sort apples, and harvest lettuce, with more precision and speed than any tired human could manage. Companies like Agrobot, FF Robotics, and FarmWise are developing machines that literally see the fruit, identify its ripeness using AI, and then pluck it perfectly. No squished peaches, no bruised berries. And if you thought that was crazy, drones are now planting the seeds, monitoring crop health, and even spraying fertilizer. With multi-spectral cameras and AI mapping, a drone can scan a massive field and tell a farmer exactly where the crops are stressed before a human could even notice. And this isn't just convenience, it's necessity. Labour shortages are crushing farms at the moment. People don't want to work 12-hour shifts in the heat for minimum wage. No surprise.
Please, for the love of God, tell me that I'm wrong. Did you know that in 2028, the Olympics is going to be held in Los Angeles County? But not just Los Angeles County, but it includes all of the northern regions of Los Angeles County. Places which include the Pacific Palisades, the San Fernando Valley, and Altadena. With just so happens to be the place that is burning right now. And then I keep hearing about 2028 Smart LA, which is Governor Newsom's plan to prepare Los Angeles County and all the surrounding areas for the influx of millions upon millions of people that will be coming for the 2028 Olympics. And Newsom has emphasized for a comprehensive recovery plan, which he's calling the Marshall Plan, for, get ready for this, LA 2.0. The entire reconstruction, which would cover over 40,000 acres. I mean, this is just for informational purposes only, but it's coincidence until it's not.
That's right. You can never let them know your next move.
He's like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not going to the slaughterhouse.
Wow.
Oh boy, he got sucked in, but he's like, no. Yeah. I see right through all of this.
That guy's woke.
Unlike this guy. He's like, I'm gonna force you to give me an egg.
What? There's so many things happening.
Only in China.
Wow.
I'll play it one more time. Like this guy, he's gonna force you to give me an egg.
Wow.
And like Kangaroo Man, he's figured out this is a matrix. I can walk on water if I want to.
Yeah, see?
I'm not stuck in the illusion.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Israel, what part of the world is it in?
Middle East, no?
Middle East, yeah. And is that a tropical climate?
No, not at all. That's
no,
heat,
no.
that's sun.
So it's not an Icelandic climate. So it's the heat, it's the desert. So you're by the equator. The funny part about science, dog, is you can duck reality off belief, dog, but you can't duck reality off fact. The equator only breeds dark people. Mm-hmm. And the further you get from the equator, the lighter people tend to get, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so check this out. How is it that you have cats called Israeli in the Middle East right now that are light-skinned? It doesn't make sense, bro. Especially when the fact that you go back and look at the story of Moses. So Moses, he's the lineage of Jesus. All right, he's like the great-great-grandfather. But Moses grew up in Egypt. He grew up under the Pharaoh. He was the Pharaoh's son.
That's right.
Let my people go.
That's right.
But his people were the Jews, the slaves. So is Moses white? But how could he pass as the son of the Pharaoh of an African country where we know scientifically the equator only breeds dark people?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And you're right there, dog. And Israel's in the Middle East. Is there any other Middle Eastern country you know that the people at mass that were naturally born there are light-skinned?
I don't think the Saudis, no, right?
Nope.
No. They're all, yeah.
No. And check this out. I can have somebody that migrates, but I'm talking about the people from the dirt. From the soil,
they're originals.
Right? Okay. So when you're born in Iceland, there's no sun. So you lack vitamin D. You need to take supplements, right? So you become light-skinned because vitamin D gives pigmentation. Right. So the closer you are to the sun, the equator, which is the highest point of the earth, the closer to the sun, you get all that sun comes down, that vitamin D comes down, those UVs, and they give you pigmentation. So you will always be darker. That's why even Indian people are dark.
Well, I mean, the majority, if not all, the people who came in from after World War II and all that, they all immigrated from like Poland, Germany. And the crazy part is they all changed their last names, bro.
So the question is, how did these people from other nations come in through the Balfour Declaration of the war as Israeli? And another question is, what's the difference between Israeli and Israelite? Because your Bible and your Torah doesn't say Israeli, it says Israelite, and it doesn't say Jewish, it says Jew. Right. And the funny part about the English language is the English language is a branch off of the England English. So what we have in America, we have in English, but we have legalese. Right. Our terms are very, very, very detailed, very, very, very focused. Right. In England, English is different. In America, it's different. So ish is actually a suffix, ish. So Jew-ish. Ish means to be like, to mimic. So check it out. When you're not really hungry, you're not starving. You're just hungry-ish. You're kind of tired. You sleepy-ish.
Yeah, right.
You know, ish. It means to be like. Not exactly, right? But to be like. It, back in the day, Israelites, ITE. It established a heritage, an ancient heritage. So Hamite, Shemite, Israelite, Canaanite, right? But now we have Mexican, right? Or we don't have ites like that.
No.
We don't have ishes like that. There's no Mexican-ish. There's no Mexicanite, right? So what's the purpose of it? The purpose of it is that there was a kind of a hijacking of culture. And where that comes from is the Khazarians.
Why can't we solve the moon landing debate? We planted 6 flags on the moon in 1969. Nobody moved those flags, right? We can't point a telescope at the moon and find these flags? No, we don't have a telescope that's strong enough to view the flags we planted on the moon. But we have a telescope that's strong enough to see other galaxies? Yeah, that's right. The United States and China currently have a rover on Mars. Mars is 34 million miles away. And the moon is 230,000 miles away. Nobody wants to put a rover on the moon to see if these flags are there or any evidence of people being up there?
Elon.
People always wonder if they are so powerful, how are you still alive? The reason is I do have a failsafe because when I was in the Brotherhood, there's something that I did to make sure that if anything happened to me, all will be revealed. But if you look at the methodology of how a person is attacked, if a person is saying something that they don't want revealed, the first thing that's always done is use the media, which they control, to discredit the person so no one listens to them anymore. Well, they tried that with me. The second thing they tried to do is put the guy in prison. They held me in contempt of court, not charged with a crime, and given the longest sentence in the history of America for contempt of court, 10 years. I didn't commit a crime. I did nothing wrong. Contempt of court is not a felony. It's not even a misdemeanor.
The leader of ISIS was Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This guy was the definition of evil. We did an operation to go in there one night. Off goes the assault force. You got your drones up, filming everything. Assault force goes in, lands. The assault force surrounded the house. Dude with a mic was like, hey, you're surrounded, come out with your hands up. And lo and behold, like a bunch of women and kids start streaming out, 20 of them. He's in there, he's got a suicide vest on, and he's got 3 women with him that are also his wives, one of which was like 14. He had built out like a fighting position in the back. Gonna have to put some commandos in here to dig him out. What was that? What unit is this? You can say it, but I can't say it. Not too much later, the report comes back. Yep, target detonated himself, and we're now gonna collect DNA to see if it was him. And you know what happens with suicide? The dude's head's gonna pop off, right? Remember? The 4-star commander, he calls and goes, ground force commander assesses with a strong degree of confidence that the target has been killed.
So they used to actually have devices where they could communicate with each other through these glass sphere objects, through the power of the ether. And bear in mind, this was in the 1800s. They had far more advanced technology than we do have now. And the buildings back this evidence up as well. They essentially had FaceTime in the 1800s through these devices. Not to mention they could create free energy through the buildings and the shapes of these buildings, through those big antennas that you can see on the buildings that would harness atmospherical energy through metals like copper and mercury, specifically red mercury. So then you have to ask the question, where did all this technology go? And why did they remove this free energy technology? And you have to understand that they removed this technology because almost all of it utilized free energy from the ether as the 5th element. And the ether was available to everyone, as the ether is infinite and it was free. But the Rockefellers could not profit from the ether because free energy cannot have a profit to it. So then during World War I, all of these buildings alongside the ether were destroyed. And then all of the documents about the ether were completely fabricated. And that's exactly why you have the electricity you have today, because the profits are extremely high and they can actually sell it, unlike the ether.
So you think the point of arresting Diddy was to shut down inquiry into what Diddy was doing?
Get the data, right? I think they did it to get all the data away from Diddy because he was being sued in civil court. And so they arrest Diddy. What'd they just convict him of? Nothing.
Well, that's clearly the point of the first Jeffrey Epstein arrest.
Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it. It was filled with crap that wasn't supposed to be there. We never get to see it. Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops. You know, it's like the 5 cops who died after January 6th, right? There are 4 out of, according to AI, there were about 80 cops really in the thick of things. 4 of them died from.
Good morning. Is that the 3 Mile right there? That is. Is there water over there? Yes. All right, awesome.
But you ought to know without asking random strangers on the trail. Do your research, please, before you hike.
Okay.
Hey. Said lady. Stand those type of people outdoors.
An entity that they have been in contact with for over 7 years.
Don't be afraid. Be imperfect.
So CERN recently turned on their Hadron, however you guys want to call it, collider. I always call it hydrogen collider. But then again, this ain't my first language. Hi, my name is Armin. This is The Imperfect. If you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a follow. It'll mean the world to me, and I'll follow you back as soon as I can. TikTok allows me 10,000, and we're halfway there. Anyway, so CERN literally turned on their hydrogen collider, however you want to call it, once again. But this is concerning. Why is this? So they had this weird ritual that lasted for 4 hours. What? They did this above ground and underground. You have world leaders from all over the place that took part in this, at least as a witness or a fan, right? So if we're spending $10 billion to search for the God particle, antimatter, a lot of people are saying that they're trying to store antimatter, but they can't. Also, why are they calling it the portal of Osiris? All kinds of weird stuff is going on here. If it's supposed to be scientific, why are they dressed demonic? Why are they dressed as goats? Why are they doing human? Imperfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, this ain't right. Something's up, clearly. The fact that they named it a portal anyway, the portal of Osiris, but the fact they're willing to openly say it's a portal, this also is not science fiction. This is science fact. CERN literally says this
who are
themselves.
actively engaged, according to their own words, communicating with something with a personality.
That should be concerning. Again, my name is Armin. Welcome to The Imperfect. If you're new to the channel, drop that follow. Big videos coming on YouTube soon.
You know, one of the biggest lies we were told about World War II was the whole blonde hair, blue eyes thing. Like, A.H. didn't even look like that. Neither did most of his inner circle or his soldiers. It wasn't real. It was about propaganda. They also don't talk about Germany during World War I, how they were all starving, in debt, and humiliated. That desperation is what gave the Yahtzees all that traction. Everybody's heard about those Yahtzee book burnings, right? Big piles of books on fire, erasing knowledge. But the way it's taught in school, low-key a myth. Like, yes, they did burn books, especially from Jewish authors and communists. But here's what they don't tell you. It wasn't just random bonfires. A lot of them came from the Institute of Smexual Science from Berlin, one of the first places in the world studying gender, smexuality, things that we'd call LGBTQ issues today. A lot of these books had nothing to do with truth. But somehow, nobody talks about the book burnings in Europe against Christianity, which led to much, much more books being burned. And then you start to wonder who was writing these textbooks. So make sure to share before they make this disappear.
The Palantir thing is very odd. A lot of people feel that this is the precursor to, a social credit score, a digital kind of police state, and that it's being done under the guise of security, that you will be safer.
Which is what the Patriot Act was brought through with.
That's exactly right.
And then you get the Benjamin Franklin quote. Yeah.
The trade liberty for security deserve neither. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I just think Peter Thiel is giving a 4-part lecture on the Antichrist.
Yeah, that seems odd.
4-part. Well, here's what's really wild to me. 4 parts. It's not just one. One lecture on the Antichrist would be insane. This guy's doing a series. He's doing a 4-part lecture on the Antichrist. And nobody in his inner orbit went, Peter, how about one lecture on the Antichrist or no lectures? Not 4.
Well, I don't think he understands the optics.
He certainly does not.
Yeah.
It's odd. Well, of course.
Well, it's a private lecture at a club in San Francisco about the Antichrist. What does he know about the Antichrist? Is he like...
I'm guessing a lot.
Are they in front of a green screen?
It looks like it.
Look
now
at
that
the
you think about
distortion
it.
when they move. Doesn't look like they tilt their heads up either.
The Denver airport. They used to have these murals put up, but they have since taken it down because it got just way too much like, what the heck am I looking at?
Really?
So it was this artist who did these 4 giant murals. This is terrible. This was in the airport.
Kids would have seen this.
Yes. Everyone would have seen this.
Got it. Okay.
Huge on display. Children in coffins.
Oh my gosh.
A forest and a city on fire. A child holding a Mayan tablet depicting the end of the world.
Nice.
What?
A Nazi wearing a gas mask.
What?
Holding a sword that was stabbing a dove.
Okay.
Not tasteful.
There was a mural of the children all over the world who had killed the Nazi, and they're bringing their weapons wrapped in their country's flag to a little German boy.
Why?
Who was at the center of it with a hammer.
What?
Can we just
like a
paint,
hammer, like a communism?
Yeah, this is so terrible.
Yeah.
But the one with the Nazi, it was showing like people that were like starving, and there was a woman holding her deceased baby.
Oh my gosh,
That's what I'm saying.
This is
Like, why
horrible.
is this in the airport?
You're in Colorado. Draw some mountains, buddy.
Look at this. This is no camera tricks. It looks like a dark rainbow. Goes into one of those cloud trail things, and then it ends up dark over there. Like, what is that? That looks like just some sort of weird dark rainbow. That's so weird. Do you think it's because the sun is right in that cloud stream and like that's the shadow? Is that what it is? Am I looking at a shadow? It's just so weird. That's the weirdest thing. Or maybe it's just aliens. I mean, look at that shadow. Could just be aliens. I don't know. That is just so weird. Look at that shadow thing. What is that?
I be telling y'all, they be watching us. They are literally watching us. Tell me why the Shade Room posts a picture of P. Diddy and Kai Cenat looking alike a day after I made a video telling y'all that P. Diddy and Kai Cenat are the same characters. I literally dropped this video yesterday proving through numerology that Kai Cenat and P. Diddy are the same characters, just playing a different role. Now, I find it funny that people in the Shade Room comments were all agreeing. Some were disagreeing, but nonetheless, they can all agree that they do look alike. And the fact of the matter is, the Shade Room posting it, so y'all don't know the Shade Room don't know the real details. All they're doing is posting things to gaslight y'all, to make y'all fight in the comments to see who is right or not. But they're actually telling you guys in plain sight that these two are the same characters, because why would they do that? And for the ones that are saying Kai Cenat looks a lot younger than P. Diddy, well, of course, P. Diddy's character was an older man. Kai Cenat's character is a younger man. Y'all do know Hollywood is all about makeup, right? You guys do know there are adult YouTube stars portraying to be children just to lure your children to watch their show, right? All I'm saying is the world is a stage. More people are concerned that P. Diddy and Kai Cenat actually aren't the same person than realizing that this right here doesn't even matter. As long as they can keep you arguing back and forth in the comments, then their job is done. They know the truth. How about y'all? And I'm telling y'all, through numbers, I be showing you guys that they're the same individuals. But do y'all believe me now? Do y'all believe me now? Let me know down in the comments below. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace out.
Here come the Diddy jokes. Yeah, go ahead. Hit me. Come out and play.
See, come out and play.
If you're new here, I cover the darkest rabbit holes that nobody else wants to touch. And if you're not following yet, you're going to miss the biggest update on the Garth Brooks missing people theory. Yo, for years, fans online have been connecting the dots between Garth Brooks' tour schedule and unsolved mysteries. The viral Garth Brooks Bodies Map theory claims his concerts overlap with missing people reports and unsolved homicides across the U.S. Some even call it the strangest celebrity conspiracy ever posted. Here's where it gets eerie though. Researchers reportedly tracked over 1,000 of his tour stops, and within that, they claim to have linked roughly 120 missing persons and nearly 90 unsolved homicides in those same regions. Even Tom Segura famously talked about this, saying, once you start digging, the names just keep stacking up. Take one example. When Brooks attended college in Oklahoma, a young woman was found unalive nearby. Years later, when he was working in Nashville, multiple disappearances were reported near the boot barn where he worked. According to the stories collected by Segura and his researchers, these connections kept appearing, sometimes within just miles of concert venues or where he was living at the time. If you live near places he's performed or if you've traveled to one of his tour stops, you ever heard locals whisper about this? Did your city have missing persons during his tours? Drop your stories down in the comments, especially if you're from Nashville, Oklahoma, or cities along his big state fair runs. And follow right now if you want to see how deep the Garth Brooks rabbit hole really goes and other true crime cases, because this next piece of this theory is probably even darker. Most people scroll past stories like this, but not you. You're still here, so hit the follow button because the next update, you don't want to miss it. Y'all, drop those guitar emojis in the comment section if you made it to the end of the...
What is the one conspiracy you believe in?
What's the one conspiracy that I believe in? I believe that elements of the CIA were involved in the killing of John Kennedy. I believe elements of the Israeli government were involved in the killing of John Kennedy.
Really?
I do.
Which element puts it together?
I was waiting for the president to declassify all of the remaining JFK documents.
Yes.
He said he did. He didn't.
Not all of, yeah.
No. There's still several thousand pages, and I'm told that they point directly at the Israelis.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear another conspiracy theory that you probably don't know? It's going to blow your mind?
Let's do it.
The day before 9/11, the day before the attacks, Rumsfeld gave a press conference where he talked about trillions of dollars missing. The day. Then a plane slams into the very part of the building where they were doing the accounting, blows up half the fucking building in the Pentagon, blows up a wall. Donald Rumsfeld was on, where was it, the White House lawn? Listen to this.
This is like 10 minutes, but it's at the Pentagon. This is on C-SPAN.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
2.3.
Somebody told you that literally like right before 9/11 happened, they said they couldn't track $2.3 trillion. You'd go, no, that didn't happen. That did not happen, but it did happen.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so think about what Kennedy said.
If you've seen...
Like, what's annoying is they still never found it, I believe. And that's our money. that comes from our pockets. That 2.3 trillion, it didn't just disappear. It's in somebody's pockets. But it came from our pockets. Our hardworking dollars taxed on every single little thing we can possibly get our hands on. Just up and disappeared. A lot of people got a lot of beach houses, I bet, off of that 2.3 trillion. And unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives and the world changed on that day.
You know that this is leaked footage of Apollo 11 faking the image of the Earth through their window. And other Apollo missions had been known to do this same thing. This is astronaut Edgar Mitchell. It says here Apollo 11, but he was actually on Apollo 14. And he's currently being shown this footage by Bart Sibrel, and he has quite the reaction. So he starts by saying, you know, probably reflections, but then he sees the lights go up, and this is his reaction.
Turn off the camera. Your interview is done. I've given you all the time I'm going to give you.
I understand. Please get your ass out of my house. Lying about going to the moon is a satanic lie of gigantic proportions. I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you... I'm heading out. I appreciate it. And get the hell out of my house. You'll get Computer, madam, before they get out of the office? We have a video camera running if you want to do it. Want to call the CIA? Have them whacked?
This is astronaut John Young, and he was on Apollo 10 and 16.
For what day? Really? Yeah, they said it was the same way that you did it on Apollo 10. To swear to God, stick it in your ear. If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
And this is, of course, astronaut Buzz Aldrin, who was in the footage himself from Apollo 11.
Turn the camera off, please. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit.
Okay.
Back then you had your talk shows and they would have, today we have a panel who say vaccines are dangerous. And so you'd have everyone watching that and we have a panel of expert doctors from the highest degree of their studies count, and they will outrule these dumbasses that listen to the drunk firemen on coke at the end of their bar in their neighborhood. But let's just listen to them. And they would have their debates, and you'd have one doctor go, they can't prove that work. And the other side always goes, it's safe, it's effective, and our studies and our stats and the tests that we did and the tests, but they don't tell you, were those tests paid for? And the ones that were paying for it, who's paying for that information to give those stats? Well, you see, as long as it's on television, it's real. For Christ's sake, he's wearing a lab coat. It's believable. Look at him with his lab coat. Lab coat? Say Dr. Billy. He must be respectable. Why would you not at least look at the fact of how many people in the last 20 years do you know that have autism?
Because I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, y'all. It's a touchy subject because not everyone gets that. Not everyone that's gotten a shot's got autism. And then there is some people that don't get it that are no longer here. I would like to see the parents of those kids speak and see what their thoughts are. Do they regret it? Do they what? It's a touchy subject, y'all, because you just don't know. You don't know, but it's a big risk. It's a big risk. Right? I don't know. That's a touchy subject, y'all. I don't really like posting that type of stuff, but it's very touchy and it's a big risk.
Who was willing to sacrifice her own family and everybody thinks she great. Like, now that I'm starting to see, because I never really paid too much attention because I knew that she was selected to try to replace me in some way. So I never really spent a lot of time focusing on her because I knew she was a plant. When I look at the predatory way that she was looking for the same kind of relationship with Clive Davis as Whitney Houston had, I said, oh, Whitney Houston famous, big fame. Damn, there's your mama and the baby, and you could be Whitney Houston too. And then when I seen her on her and Clive on the red carpet, and somebody asked her about Clive, and she said, Clive is my everything. I'd be nothing without Clive. And then it makes you think about the first Whitney Houston trip.
A third of the prisoners are pedophiles.
Okay.
Mafia dons. There were a lot of mob
A
guys.
third of the people there are pedophiles?
Pedophiles.
So why would they put you there with...
I'm glad you asked me that question. And I swear we didn't plant the question. At my sentencing, my attorneys asked the judge to put me in a minimum security work camp. Okay, there are no bars on the windows. The doors are unlocked. You're free to come and go as you please. You're just on your honor not to run away. And most of those guys work at there's a university in the town, the little village nearby, and you sweep the floors or whatever. The judge says to the prosecutors, any objection? They said no objection. She says, okay, minimum security work camp. Well, the strange thing in our system is if you're sentenced to prison and you're free until the date of your incarceration, you physically drive to the prison and knock on the door and say, I'm here to turn myself in. It's weird, right? So I got up that morning, And a couple of my lawyers, my cousin and his son, a documentary film crew, we drive to the prison, and I go to the camp, minimum security camp, and I knock on the door, and I said, I'm John Kiriakou. I'm here to turn myself in. They said, oh, you have to go across the street to the actual prison. They'll process you, and then they'll just bring you back over here. I said, okay. So I go across the street to the prison and said, I'm here to turn myself in. The guy says, okay. They put me through a metal detector. And then he starts to lead me around to the back of the actual prison. And I said, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be at the camp across the street. And he goes, not according to my paperwork, you're not.
Wow.
And I told myself, take it easy. There's nothing you can do. They'll put you in solitary if you say anything. So I didn't say a word. It took me about 45 minutes to get processed, and then they put me in a cell, like an actual cell. It was a 4-man cell, but they squeezed 6 guys in there because of overcrowding. It took me 4 or 5 days before I got access to a phone.
To call your lawyer.
I called my lawyer. And I said, hey, they put me in the actual prison with the mafia kingpins and the Mexican drug cartel guys and the pedophiles. What do I do? And he said, oh my God. He said, well, we can make a motion, but it'll be 2 years before we have a court date. He said, buddy, I'm sorry. You're going to have to tough it out.
Get out of here. 23 months, 2 years.
And I told myself, you've lived in far worse places than this.
Are you married at this time or
yes.
no? What is your wife doing? Because I know your wife was also in the CIA.
Yes, she was fired from the CIA on the day of my arrest just because she was married to me.
No other reason?
No.
And is that common etiquette because married, they're worried you're going to...
Unprecedented.
Well, because Jonah Mendes and Tony Mendes were in it together and they were married for 28 years or something like that.
Bro, the last 24 hours have been insane. This was the last moment anyone has seen this 22-year-old YouTuber who was trying to film content at the Duduma waterfall in India. He was washed away by the strong currents and authorities still haven't found him 5 days later. Next, Will Smith is being accused of posting a video of an AI-generated crowd during his Based on a True Story tour in America. Crazy part though is that this wasn't even to mask small crowds. He is objectively performing in front of huge amounts of people. So why his team decided to do this is a bit of a mystery. Next, a city in Japan is proposing guidelines that would see all of its 70,000 citizens only use their phones for 2 hours a day. God forbid a granny doom scroll in peace. The mayor of Toyaki said that it was to prevent excessive use of devices causing physical and mental health issues, including sleep problems. Now luckily, those who go over the 2-hour limit, they're not going to face fines or penalties. Next, Stuart Smith, the wrestler who was attacked by Roger Jackson, is thankfully now awake, conscious, able to talk, and somehow his face doesn't even really look that bad. I mean, the beard's probably covering a lot, and his family say that he still has a long road of recovery ahead. Next, a painting stolen by Nazis over 80 years ago just accidentally surfaced. And guess where? Argentina. Yeah. We know why. And I say accidentally because it was spotted in an ad from a real estate agency, and the house that they were listing allegedly is owned by the daughter of an infamous Nazi. Now, the family of the Jewish art dealer who was originally stolen from is trying to get it back. Next. Oh, and if you do like these news roundups, I post 3 a week on YouTube, and they're up to 30 minutes long. Next. Also, the world is worried for this 11-year-old girl from Gaza who is famous for her cooking videos. Because yesterday, she posted this unsettling image on Instagram to her 1.5 million followers with just one word saying goodbye. And since no one really knows what this means, people have been panicking in the comment section asking if she's okay, what does goodbye really mean, etc. Next, the US Coast Guard just made their biggest drug bust in history, and authorities say that this was enough to fatally overdose the entire population of Florida. It was worth almost $500 million and 34 people were detained as a result. Next, and lastly, bro wasn't capping. The man who spent 21 years building a miniature model of New York City has decided to prove all the haters wrong. For the first time, he's laid out his entire model consisting of 1 million handmade buildings. It's 50 foot long, 30 foot wide, which is just over half an NBA court. 21 years well bloody spent.
A lot of people in Hollywood practice a lot of rituals in exchange for power and have had enough evidence that it's true and that it works. And what they had to exchange for that sometimes, didn't come from a very clean source of information. And so it gets caught up. And I don't have any judgment about it. I'm very neutral only because I can see how they got there. This is not the core of who they are. It's just like a serial killer. It's not the core of who they were. There was a change that occurred. And so I focus more on the change. When did it occur? Why? When did this change in the brain? What happened? What were they thinking? What kind of evidence did they get? And how did they get here? That's more important to me than what's happening right at the moment.
North Korea is right behind me. It's crazy that there's no lights there. This whole city here on the China side is fully lit up, and the side on the North Korea side has no lights. Even the end of the bridge, the lights stop, and there's all these trucks shipping things from North Korea all the way into China. I really want to go in. So I came back the next day to plot a plan on how to enter North Korea, because it's a shared river. So as long as I don't jump in, which I'm planning to do, then you're not considered crossing the border. If I was to swim right now, I would have to dodge, but remember, I'm protected by God. If I don't make it back, just know that I'm doing what I love. I'll see you guys later.
Like, just imagine living there and just over the water, life, bright lights. Like, imagine being in a place where all you see is pretty much street lights and that's it. And then you look across the ocean or whatever that is, a lake or whatever, and it's red and green and flashing screens and cars. And how sucky would that be to be in that city? Like, as a kid, as a teenager, like looking over, like, man, so close, but yet so far.
Think of people's canes. They used to be made out of copper and brass. They used to have those really fancy looking canes that looks like bronze. And the reason was they were grounding through those canes. Because what you'd find is some of them canes were made from copper, silver and brass. And so when they were pressing that cane into the floor, that cane was then conducting the Earth's electromagnetic energy. And then the handles were also made out of copper, brass, gold, if you were wealthy enough for gold. And so that electricity and frequency would travel up the cane to the person, and as a result instantaneously heal them, because we know humans are electrical beings. And then if you look at the canes today, they all have rubber on the bottom of them, just like our shoes, because then the conductivity can't take place and the exchange can't take place. So when it comes to grounding in the winter, you can also touch trees, or you can get yourself a cane made from copper and brass or silver, press it into the ground, and the Earth's energy will transfer up the cane to you, and as a result the frequency will heal you. And then the same narrative again. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds implemented this change. And then so you don't see any copper canes, brass canes or silver canes for that very reason of healing.
Okay, so these are the sets for upcoming videos. I probably should have told my employees, hey, we're live streaming. We're live. Don't say anything racist. Whoa. I'm just kidding.
Did you know Whitney Houston didn't die naturally? She didn't accidentally drown. She was used as a sacrifice. Late at night on February 11th, 2012, she was found in the bathtub of room 434 at the Beverly Hilton. People who saw the scene say it didn't look like a normal accident at all. The room was dark. Candles melted on the carpet in a circle, like some old mark. On the wall across, a mirror was covered with black cloth. Mystics say it's a sign pointing to another world. Even stranger, a few hours before she died, staff heard her screaming in the hallway, "They're here. They want my voice." Hotel workers also said they heard a second voice in the bathroom, a low, creepy whisper. The deal is done. 2 years later, the nightmare happened again. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, was found unconscious in a bathtub too. The scene was almost the same. A few months later, she died as well, and the autopsy again gave no clear answers. Conspiracy theorists think Whitney knew too many secrets. She tried to get out of that deal, but was punished.
I know. Seriously? Astrology and flat Earth or true Earth are symbiotic. You cannot have one without the other. If you have a ball and you are spinning, flying through space, chasing this fireball, your constellations would change every now and then. And our constellations have never changed. The stars have never changed. What we've seen have never changed. We have the same 12 zodiac signs that we had back in the Dendera stones in Egypt over 5,000 years ago. This is dated 5,000 years ago, but it's really older than Dendera stone. And why is that? Because the ancients knew that we're not moving. And every single ancient society knew this: the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Hindus, the Egyptians. Every single ancient culture knew that we live in a geocentric universe, not a heliocentric, where we are spinning, chasing this ball of fire, while all of these other planets are rotating around us, while all of these other stars are rotating around us. If that was the case, Polaris would move, number one, which is the North Star, and it doesn't. It never moves, number one. Number two, all of the constellations would not rotate solely around Polaris.
Now, my question is, why did they decide to start lying to us now in this civilization? Right, all the other civilizations is flat. We have all this knowledge, free energy, free food. Why now they start lying to us? That's my question. But why? It seems like from what everyone says, everyone was so honest and holy and cared about each other back then. Why now there's so much greed, hatred, and lies? What changed?
That is supposed to be me, Hurts. What did I ever do to you that you would draw that picture of me?
Everything.
Super times for all. No danger about. In fact, let me tell you, if you don't work in a hospital, you really are missing something. In fact, you're missing everything.
This guy was knighted in this country. He was made a sir. That is the highest honour you can get. Not everyone who follows me is from the UK, so if you want to know what this guy was up to, then check the comment section, because I probably won't be able to repeat it on here. Censorship has just got even tighter on here. In the Bible, it says that demons walk amongst us. This thing is a demon fully manifested into flesh. He literally had the keys to children's hospitals, and the things he did, I won't repeat, but you can imagine. Why is there so much culture related to elite people where things like this happen?
When he drank the blood of the sacrifice of the person, his complexion came back to life. There was a ritual in the White Mountains of Arizona. They physically brought like a black stone altar. They trucked this thing in and then carried it into the White Mountain Apache reservation to their high place that's out there. And they brought a huge pig with them. And the man who was the high priest over it came up from Phoenix, Arizona to govern this ritual. He had that brown, charred, soggy skin and feeble, like needing help, but he was the master of ceremonies. As people took their positions and began to initiate that ritual, when they slaughtered the pig on the altar, abuse is happening around it. When he drank the blood of the sacrifice of the person, his complexion came back to life. Like he lost 20 years on his life. His skin transformed in front of my face to be that of a much younger man. And his spine stood erect. The joints of his hands were straightened out. That is a vampire.
So things are going from bad to worse. Not only are they getting charged with counterfeit items, but now they're also being charged with buying and selling stolen merchandise. I honestly don't know which one's worse, selling counterfeit items to your customers or buying stolen merchandise that you know is stolen. Honestly, these type of tactics to make money are what's making the sneaker community go the way it's going. And unfortunately, one of the platforms that they were using was the platform Whatnot. And if anybody knows anything about the platform Whatnot, there is a no refund policy on there. So once you buy something, it's yours and you can't return it. What do you guys think about what's going on with Cool Kicks? And are you going to keep shopping at their stores? I'm definitely interested to see how this is going to unfold. I see that they have a court date set here for October 23rd. Go ahead, follow and share for more updates.
Just a little reminder for all my friends in California, you should never pay for any of these. This one, it's $2.50. But in California, It's required by law that they provide free air so you don't have a flat tire. Apparently I just pressed this button a few times and I should, there you go, pump's going. I should have air.
Have you seen that?
It's just what that's just what they do, y'all. People probably didn't even know that, and they've been paying $2 to use that. I didn't know that. I put that on there for everybody to see. Like, they just scam. And we're so naive, we don't even try. We just pay the $2. I don't. Quick Trips out in Arizona is free air. I'd see people across the street at the gas station paying $2 when right here it's free air. But that's probably like that in every state. So next time you got to put air, test it before you pay it.
Oh, Jamie, find that video.
I was in Puerto Rico on my 27th birthday, and we had went out to this really nice club in San Juan. I met this guy. I ended up hanging out with him after the club. We just sat in his car for like hours and talked. And this guy didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know him. So he had like no idea of the scope of knowledge that I had when it came to other stuff. Anyways, started talking. The more we talked, the more he revealed to me. I found out he was a high-ranking Freemason, number one. But also he told me that his grandmother had sold his soul when he was like 6 years old. And because of that, he was like, something came up to him one day. Let me say that. Something came up to him one day and it was like a human. And he followed it into the woods and into a cave. He followed into a cave. The being revealed itself to him. And he said like their back was like as big as like the backseat of a car and they're really tall. And anyways, he used to like have to call upon this being at first. It would help.
Ed Gein inspired horror movies, but what police found in his house was so disturbing, Hollywood couldn't show it. The house appeared to be generally in a state of decay, evidence of pest infestations and poor maintenance. When they expanded their search to the outbuildings, this is where they found Bernice Warden's body. It was hanging upside down. Her head was in a box, and her heart was in a different compartment near the stove, which confirms organ removal. Accounts from Wisconsin outlets say that the deputy who first lit the scene ran outside and vomited. The search of Ed's property continued for over a week because after finding Bernice Warden's body, investigators realized that they had initially dismissed as old dusty furniture was actually items made from human remains. 10 skulls with the tops taken off and used as bowls, and human skulls mounted as bedposts, and a heart found in a bag, and human skin, and many more discoveries that are personally just too gruesome to even detail. The discovery is documented in crime scene photos that remain some of the most disturbing images in American criminal history ever.
Egypt, off the coast of Alexandria. Take a look at this. Remnants of a 2,000-year-old city lifted out of the sea and into the 21st century. The ruins include statues and buildings that may have served as homes and places of worship.
And this is an object that lets you see through time. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
I don't think I have.
So chrono means time, visor means see. So this is an object that you can see through time. It was invented by, his name is Pellegrino Ernetti. Father Pellegrino Ernetti he was a priest, but he was also a physicist, and he was like an expert at music. And he was working with, I think his supervisor was Father Gemelli. He's working at a university or something, and what they're doing is they're studying Gregorian chants and listening to records and cataloging things. And they're listening to one record, and Father Gemelli says, I recognize that voice. And they play it back, and I'm like, well, who's that? And he's like, that's my father. I'm like, well, what is he saying? He said, well, he's talking about leather and prices, and, well, it turns out his father was like a shoemaker, like a cobbler. And he heard his father's voice selling somebody shoes. So they end up isolating these voices and come to the conclusion that all the objects around us are vibrating with an energy and picking up all the conversations. Everything we're saying is getting absorbed into everything around us. And that if you can tune into the right frequency, you can hear that. And if you can really zero in on it, you can see what's going on. And Father Ernetti gets together this group of rock star physicists led by Enrico Fermi, who worked on the Manhattan Project, a heavy hitter, and 9 or 10 others, and they build this device called the chronovisor. And Father Ernetti goes and he looks back at Mussolini's speeches, and then he goes back further and he's looking at watching old Roman plays that no longer.
Here's my 110-pound iron-working anvil. Let's set it in here and see if it floats. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to stay upright. I'll just let it tip over. There it is. It's floating. Look at that.
The iron anvil floats because mercury has a density nearly twice that of iron. In fact, due to the density ratios, the iron actually floats better than wood does in water.
Oh, it's hard to push down. My hammer in. Hammer floats too. That's pretty great. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.
The guy who owns a shoe store in Melrose in Los Angeles. I just did a video with him. Cool kicks. Cool kicks. Cool guy. Sort of. I was there on the opening of his store before anybody who knew who he was. I shouted him out to my millions of followers. Anytime he needed a video, I was there. I filmed videos there. I took a year off the internet this year because my life went to shit. One day, 6 months in, I'm curious. Let me go through my following list and see who's following me back. I go to his page. I stopped for 5 minutes staring at it. Huh? This has to be a mistake. He unfollowed me. I check if I'm following him. It says, you are. 2 weeks later, I get a text from who? Him. Hey brother, you're killing it. When are you coming to the store to do a video? I look at my team and I go, I'm about to fucking cuss him out. Guess what they say? Don't. Use them one last time. Go use them for a video. Get some free shit. I got a free pair of Yeezys, $9,500. How? I go to his shoe store. I said, if I beat you in your basketball game in your home court, you give it to me for $1,500. I beat his bitch ass. He goes, fine, you can buy it for $150. I look at him in the face. I go, nah, I just beat you in your home court. Give it to me for free. He goes, good. But this is why I'm real and they're not. While we're talking on camera, they can find the video to show. I don't lie. Everything's on camera. On camera, he goes, did hella people switch up on you and now trying to come back into your life now that you're popping? I look at him dead in the eye and I go, oh, it's funny you bring that up. I could say something about you. Would you like me to or not? Yeah. Giving him the option as a man. Are you man enough? The girl you're fucking every night tells you that you make her feel good. Do you want to test that theory? Let me tell you how much I don't respect you as a man to your face. His face got bloodshot white and he said, no, let's not say it. I said, then let's carry on with the video.
Murder music is a real thing. Music right now, right? You play.
So annoying, y'all. These are the people that get pushed to the forefront. Scammers. Like, why did you go give them a shout out? Millions of followers. Why'd you choose to give him a shout out? You know what I mean? Why didn't you choose to help out? I'm sure you have a little cousin, a little nephew wanting to be just like you. Why didn't you give them a shout out? Why did your manager say, hey, go give this guy a shout out? Because it wasn't his decision to go over there and do a video. Just like it wasn't his decision to say, I don't want to work with these guys no more. His manager said, no, go do it. You'll get a free pair of shoes. Like, you really need a free pair of shoes. You got $1 million. You're making millions of dollars a month. You need a $9,000 pair of free shoes? No, you were told to go do that. You didn't want to. That's why you said I lost my and I had to take a year off, because you're not doing things at your free will. You're being told what to do. You're being told who to work with. You're not allowed to put your family on. You're not allowed to do none of that. You know what I mean? That's why it's so frustrating that people don't see through the BS with these people that are at the top, y'all. They think they're at the top because they're organic and they get there organically. No. You went to LA and got a manager. That manager got you, pulled those strings and got you in that algorithm and got you those million followers. That's why he lost his shit, because it's not authentic. Right? Everyone around you thinks it's authentic, but in your soul, you know you're not authentic. And it's just frustrating, y'all. But that's the game. You know what I mean? That's the game. That's just what it is. But I see through it. But the masses of people, they don't see that. They see, damn, this guy busted his ass and did. No, maybe in the beginning you bust your ass, but you went and got that manager, and that manager opened the door for you, and now you're at where you're at. That's why you lost your shit. You know what I mean? It's frustrating, y'all. I don't know if it's me being a hater. I don't know, but it's just annoying that these people are the ones that get put at the front, and they're the scammers and the con artists.
Some old school song that your mom or dad used to play, like, damn, dude, I feel like a little kid again. I've heard this song in so long. Or you hear some shit in your first date with your wife or something, you're like, wow, this is the same song we were bumping. I remember that. And you get this feeling. What happens if you get nostalgia murder music feelings and you have a gun and you're a gangbang? You might want to shoot somebody.
1775, when allegedly this blew down from the wind. Now, that looks pretty heavy, so I'm not sure how that... And the banner-shaped weather vane formed under the master hammers of the Deacon Shem Drown before the Union was born. Paul Revere was around there, so he was galloping on his horse while they were putting up these massive weather vanes. Now, let me show you how challenging it is for them to adjust this steeple. So this is them replacing the steeple, and this is a picture taken in 1954. 1954. See this big crane? They're putting up that steeple. They're replacing this. So what's interesting is the steeple I just showed you, which is over here, this big one. This was 1775, which is actually just before 1776, which is fascinating because that's before the Declaration of Independence. If it takes all of this work to put this up in 1954, we have to ask some questions because it said that a hurricane in 1954 took out the steeple. Now, this steeple is located in Boston, Massachusetts. I don't know of many hurricanes going up to Boston, Massachusetts, maybe once in a blue moon, which we're talking about the full moon today, but look at the size of that. And then there were donations in cash and all types of associations which helped with the generosity to put this back up.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You made it this far. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Been a little MIA over the weekend. It was a long weekend, y'all. It's a long weekend. What's frustrating is I know what I need to do to get to where I want to go. And I feel like when you know that, the universe, the devil, whatever you want to call it, it's going to try everything in its power to keep you from getting to there, right? So it's a constant struggle. It's a constant fight every day. But you know, all I can do is just try to get better than I was yesterday, y'all. So we got an hour banger in today. I enjoyed it, had a good time, feeling good. Let's just keep the ball rolling, y'all. Keep the ball rolling. Hope everyone out there had a good weekend, y'all. But I got to get going. Baby's in his crib crying, y'all. He's rolling around now. He's rolling around. You know, we had him on the bed in we had him on our bed. We always put him up there, like when it's bedtime, you know, put on the TV for him and he'll fall asleep, right? And he's in a little thing. Well, Saturday night, thank God I happened to look at the baby camera because sometimes he's kicking, right? He's kicking. So sometimes, you know, he's just kicking. I won't look once in a blue moon, right? This time I looked and he was so close to the edge of that bed. One more roll, he was off the bed. Thank God. I saw it, ran upstairs. So now we're putting him in his crib more, but he's rolling around in there and, you know, he's having a hard time falling asleep. So I'm probably going to get him and go lay in the bed with him for a little bit until he falls asleep. And then, you know, I get to break my fast in another hour. So get this video edited, uploaded for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it, y'all. I got to get going, though. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the man cave. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one, y'all. Later.